feeling like you're just wading through, endless online platforms, trying to find the right freelance help or maybe land that perfect gig.
Oh, absolutely. It can feel like total information overload.
Right. So many options, it's easy to get lost.
You spend more time searching than actually doing the work or hiring someone.
Okay, so let's try and cut through some of that noise. Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah, where we take a whole heap of information and try to pull out the key insights for you.
Exactly. And today, our mission is, well, to make sense of this huge world of freelance platforms. We've got this really extensive list here. It covers a massive range of services, different needs.
It really does. And it's helpfully categorized, which gives us a good roadmap. We're going to look at general freelance marketplaces.
The big ones, yeah?
Right. And then remote job boards, platforms specifically for writing, for design, tech, virtual assistants.
Oh, and even like specialized services and microtasks.
Yep, microtasks, stuff for digital nomads, even funding platforms, regional ones, enterprise solutions.
Yep.
And then a sort of catch-all other category too.
Wow, okay. So, pretty much no matter what your skills are or what kind of talent you're looking for,
Hopefully, yeah.
this deep dive should give you some valuable clarity, maybe point you in the right direction.
Let's hope so.
Let's dive in then.
Okay, let's start with those general freelance marketplaces. These are kind of the big names, the platforms where you can find freelancers for lots of different things.
Right, the jack of all trades sites.
Sort of. So our list here has Airtasker, Bark, Bonsai, Braintrust, Catalent, Comet, Contra.
Even just in that first batch, you can kind of see different approaches maybe. Braintrust is more Web3 focused, isn't it?
It leans that way, yeah.
Yeah.
And the list keeps going. Cruise, Scale, Everyday Freelance, Expert 360, and then, the real giants.
Like Fiverr.
Yeah, exactly. Fiverr, and they've even branched out, right? Fiverr Business, Fiverr Local, Fiverr Pro.
Which shows how even the big players are trying to specialize a bit within that general offering, catering to different needs.
That's a great point. And then you see others like Flexible and FreeUp.
Yeah.
They seem to emphasize like vetting their freelancers more.
So maybe I focus on quality control there.
Could be, which contrasts maybe with more open platforms like freelance.com or Freelance My Way, where maybe the barrier to entry is a bit lower.
Right. So it makes you think, doesn't it? Do you want a huge pool of options or something more curated? Depends on what you need, I guess.
Exactly. And it's definitely global. We see Freelancer Club, multiple entries for freelancer.com itself, Freelancer Map, freelancermap.de.
Oh, yeah, that suggests a German focus for that one.
Right. And freelancers in the UK. Then there's gigged.ai, Golance, Guru, Hireable. It's just a very diverse landscape already.
It really is. And we're still going. Hubstaff Talent, Insolvo, Tula, Malt, which I think you said pops up again later.
Yeah, in the regional section. It's big in Europe.
Okay. Then Moonlighter. Moonlighting.
Hmm.
It's incredible how many companies are trying to solve this connection problem.
Isn't it just? Outsourcely, people per hour, ServiceScape, Shortlist, Solid Gigs, which sounds like it's aiming for more stable gigs.
Yeah, the name suggests that.
Oh.
Then TaskRabbit, which is often more local, task-based. The Upwork Pro, Thumbtack, TopTal.
TopTal, often positioned as more high-end, right? For specialized tech and finance talent, mainly.
Yeah, that's their reputation.
Yeah.
And still more. Truelancer, Twigo, Twine, Upstack, and of course, Upwork, the big one.
And Upwork also has Upwork Enterprise for bigger companies.
Right. And rounding it all out, WeGrowth, WorkMarket, Workana, big in Latin America, Workhoppers, Worksum, Zolo, Juno, and Zarly.
Phew. Okay. That really gives a sense of just how busy that general marketplace space is.
Definitely. So, okay, that's the general stuff. But what if you specifically want remote talent? That's a huge thing now. Our source has a whole category for remote job boards.
Oh, yeah. This area has exploded.
Yeah.
And the number of platforms shows that. You see some familiar names, general job sites that now have a big remote section, like Abzuna, AngelList, Built-in, Career Builder, even Craigslist.
Craigslist for remote work.
Okay, well, it lists everything. And then you have platforms that are only about remote jobs, like Citizen Remote, Daily Remote, Design Remotely.
Specialization again, even within remote. Design remotely, dev remote.
Exactly, catering to specific skills, dynamite jobs, and then geographic focus too, like EU remote jobs and Europe remotely.
Makes sense. And then some really well-known remote players. FlexJobs, Flexa, FlowerRemote.io, Glassdoor, of course, lists remote alongside in-office jobs.
Right, and don't forget Google Jobs. It pulls in remote listings from all over the web, acts as a big aggregator.
Super useful.
Then you've got Himalayas, Hired, Indeed, another giant job finder, Job Hunter, Job Gather, Jobify, Jobless, Jobrack. It just shows how normal remote work has become.
Absolutely mainstream. The list just keeps rolling. Jobs.com, JobSpotter, JobSpresso, Jubal, and some that really lean into the name. Just remote, let's work remotely.
Levels job board, LinkedIn Jobs, which is massive now for remote roles too.
Huge, yeah. Market remotely. Monster, another old school board that's adapted.
Yep. Then No Desk, No Commute, On-Site, which is a funny name for a remote board.
Ha! Yeah, slightly ironic.
Panjin, Real Work from Anywhere, Remote Front, Remote Global. They're really hammering home the location independence idea.
It's almost overwhelming just listing them. We've still got Remote Jobs Club, Remote Jobs Ninja, Remote OK.
Remote OK is a big one in the tech remote community.
Thread, Remote Team, Remote Tech Jobs, Remote Tribe, Remote Work Junkie, Remote.co.
Remote.co, also very established. Remote.io, Remote for Me, Remote Hub, RemoteJobs.com.
The sheer number suggests just massive demand, right? On both sides.
Absolutely. And we're still not done. Remote Leads, Remotely Awesome Jobs, Remoters, Remotive.io, Simply Hired, Skip the Drive.
Skip the Drive, love that. Snag a Job, Snapshot, Snap-on, The Ladders, The Muse, the WFH Jobs, Virtual Vocations.
We Work Remotely, another major player. We're Remote, Workable, Work You, Working Nomads, Working Not Working. And finally, ZipRecruiter.
Wow. Okay, that is a truly comprehensive look at just the remote job boards. Let's take a breath.
Deep breath, yeah.
All right, so moving into more specific talents. What about writers, content creators? Where should they be looking?
Okay, yeah, for writers and content folks, there are a lot of niche platforms. Our list has All Indie Writers, BlogMutt, Blogging Pro, Byliner, ClearVoice.
ClearVoice and Contently, they feel maybe a bit more high-end or enterprise-focused sometimes.
Yeah, they often connect writers with larger brands or offer more managed services, whereas others might be more about individual blog posts or articles.
Gotcha. The list also has Compose.Lacy, Constant Content, Contenta, Contently, Copify, Cracked.com. That's an interesting one.
Huh. Yeah, it must be for their specific kind of listicles and humor writing. Then freelance writing gigs, freelance job openings, freelancewriting.com.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Right. And platforms like Funds for Writers, Hippo Reads, Hire Writers. Journalism jobs, which is obviously for editorial roles. Listverse, Long Raids.
Media Bistro, too. That's been around a while. And the Medium Partners program, which is more about publishing your own stuff and potentially earning from it. Exactly. Different models. Mental Floss, Morning Coffee Newsletter, ProBlogger, huge resource for bloggers.
Definitely. ProBlogger AU2 for Australia.
Yeah.
Scoop, Scribe Media, Scripted, Skyward. It really shows the variety of writing gigs out there.
It does, from blogging to journalism to brand content. We also see Textbroker, The Urban Writers, The Right Life, Verblio, Word Agents, Writer Access, Writing Jobs Online, iWriter, and N- rounding out this category.
So plenty of options if writing is your thing.
Clearly a big demand for it.
Okay, let's switch to the visual side. Designers, illustrators, creative folks, what platforms stand out for them?
Another strong category. We've got 99 Designs, which is famous for its contest model.
Right, the spec work model.
Yeah, which has its pros and cons. AIGA Design Jobs, that's the professional association. Art Wanted, ArtStation, huge for digital artists, game artists.
Yep, ArtStation portfolios are amazing. Authentic Jobs, Awesome Web. What's the feel here? Mix of job boards and portfolios. Seems like it. And then definitely some very visual-centric ones. Behance Adobe's platform, massive. Brand Crowd, Coreflot, Creative Circle, Creative Hot List.
Creative market for assets, right? Like fonts, templates.
Exactly. Creative Heads, Creative Pool, CrowdSpring, another contest-based one. Design Jobs Board, Design Bro, Design Contest, Design Crowd, Design Hill, Design Clue. Lots of design in the name.
Clearly targeting that market. And then Dribbble, another huge one for designers showcasing work, finding jobs.
Massive community. Innovato Studio, Flaticon for icons specifically, Folio, Framer experts for that specific tool, Graphic Reaver, also for assets.
Interesting how some focus on specific tools or outputs.
Very niche. Gravity, Hello Pablo, Juniper Lane, Crop Marketing Jobs, My Fonts for typography specialists, Rive Animator for animation.
Smashing Jobs and Smashing Magazine jobs tied to the web design publication.
Yep, Superside. Talent House, the creative group, often more agency staffing focused.
Yeah.
The Creative Loft, the Dots, which I think we see later too.
Maybe regional. We'll see. The Grid, Threadless for t-shirt designs and print on demand.
Right. Webflow experts, again, tool specific. And Working Not Working appears again here too.
A real ecosystem for creatives.
Definitely vibrant. Okay, shift gears again. Development and tech. High demand area.
You can say that again. The list here looks long too. 10x Management, AI Jobs Board, very current. Adalo, Arc.dev.
Arc.dev specifically vets remote developers, I believe.
Ah, Okay. Bubble for no-code Mentor. Codeable for WordPress experts. Code Mentor. Code Mentor X for mentorship and freelance work. Coding game using challenges for hiring.
Yeah, that specialization jumps out immediately, doesn't it? WordPress, AI, specific platforms.
Totally. Crossover, crypto jobs list for blockchain stuff, data crunch for data science roles, deep talent, F-Lance, and other crypto.
Seems like it, yeah. GitHub jobs, obviously huge for developers. Gitcoin.
Really emphasizes needing specific technical skills. Gun.io, hackathons.io for event-based coding, HackerRank for assessments.
Job listing on CodePen. Lemon.io, Remote 3, it looks like another crypto Web3 focus. Stack Overflow jobs, another giant.
Can't talk tech jobs without Stack Overflow. Talent.io, Top Coder, Turing, often connecting global talent. Unicorn Hunt for startup roles.
User testing slightly different, getting paid to test websites and apps.
Right. WP hired for WordPress again, Web3.career, Webflow Partners, X-Team, UTest for software testing.
A really thorough look at the tech freelance world.
Yeah.
Lots of specialization.
Okay. What about virtual assistants for businesses or individuals needing admin help remotely?
Yep, dedicated category for that. Connecting people with remote assistants. The list includes Assistant Match, Belay.
Belay is pretty well known, right? Established.
Yeah, they are. Boldly, fancy hands, hire my mom. Interesting niche focus there.
Helping mothers get back into the workforce remotely.
Yeah, exactly. MyTasker, Prialto, Red Butler, Time, etc., VA networking, virtual assistant jobs, virtual staff finder, and Zirtual. Shows there's a definite market for virtual support.
Cool. Okay, next up is specialized services. This sounds like where things get really specific.
Yeah, this is a super diverse category. Caters to really niche professional needs. We got Axiom for legal professionals.
Okay, lawyers doing freelance work, backstage for actors, performers.
Right. Bodalgo for voice actors. Card
Hmm.
for people who build sites using Card specifically. Chef Temp for culinary roles. Clerky for legal tech help, like incorporation.
Wow, okay. Commission crowd for sales roles, EdSurge jobs for education tech, Exit 5 for marketing leaders, Exper5 for consultants.
Fashion United for the fashion industry. Gingo for translation. Get Educated for online learning pros. Growth Hackers for, well, growth hackers.
HubSpot marketing jobs, very ecosystem specific. CollabTree for scientists and researchers. That's fascinating.
Isn't it? Rent a scientist. Mandy for film and TV crew. Marketer hire and marketing hire both for marketers. Maple for marketing analytics.
Maidly and Nomad Health for healthcare professionals, nurses, techs.
Right. 1 hour translation listed twice here, maybe different regional sites. Polywork, interesting platform for showing a broader range of skills. Priori legal for lawyers again. ProZ, huge for translators.
Yeah, Prosy is well known. Production Hut should be for media production. Prompt Base for people writing AI prompts. That's super niche and current.
Very much so. Reedsy for publishing professionals, editors, designers. Remote marketing jobs. SchoolSpring for educators. Socialmediajobs.com.
Splice for music creators. Stage 32 also for film TV. Superpath for content marketers. Tascade for project management. Teslio for software testing.
Theranos for therapists. Translators Cafe. Trust Health for nurses. UpCounsel for legal again. Voice123. Voices.com. All for voice actors.
Lots for voice actors. Wellable for wellness pros. ZocDoc for healthcare. It's incredible how granular these platforms get.
Truly remarkable. Shows how specialized the workforce is becoming, and the platforms reflect that.
Okay, next. Microtask as gigs. Smaller jobs, short-term stuff.
Exactly. Think data entry, transcription, quick surveys, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Amazon Mechanical Turk, or MTurk, is probably the most famous one here.
Right. The list also has 3Play Media, Appen, Ask for Task, Be Somebody, Builderscrat.coda, and Zen New Zealand Focus.
Looks like it, yeah. Casting Words, Clickworker, Coach.me, Crew, CrowdSurf, Gig Smart, Gig Bucks, Gig Grabbers, Gig Walk.
Go Transcript, GreenPal specifically for lawn care. Wow. Lesson Face for online lessons. Microworkers. MyWork focusing on LGBTQ plus professionals.
Nevo, Nestpick, OutSchool for teaching online classes to kids, Pickle, Pico Workers, Poplin, Proply for language tutoring.
Projects.co.id, Indonesia maybe. Pulse for on-demand home services. QuickTate, Rappi for delivery. Rev for transcription captioning.
Science Exchange for scientific research projects, another specialized one popping up here. Scribey for transcription. Shift Gig for event staff. Skillshare both for teaching and learning.
Spacer for renting out storage space. Freeboo, Steady for finding income streams. Story Hunter for video journalists. Stringer for video. Superproof for tutoring.
Surf Office for remote workspaces retreats. The Bash for event performers. Tigerfish, Transcribe Me, transcription jobs, lots of transcription options. Unbabble for translation. Urban Company for home services.
Ureed, Usme, VHX for video hosting, VIP Kid for teaching English online, VWorker, Vunic, Wisent for tutoring, Zask.
That is a huge list covering an enormous range of small tasks and services.
Mind-boggling, really. Okay, what about resources for digital nomads and travel?
Yeah, this category is less about direct job finding and more about resources supporting that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So Airbnb for places to stay, obviously.
Sure. Borderless Mind, Coolworks often seasonal jobs in cool places. Coworker for finding co-working spaces. Digital nomad jobs.
How to be a digital nomad, probably a resource site. Jungle Scout for Amazon sellers, who are often location independent. Laptop Lifestyle, Nomad List.
Nomad List is key for nomads comparing cities and stuff.
Absolutely. Nomad X, Pangea Dreams, Remote Work Hub, Remote Working, Remote Year, the program that takes cohorts around the world.
Right.
Rover for pet sitting gigs.
The Remote Job Club, the Remote Work Summit, Tribal, Viva maybe real estate in Brazil, WFA Jobs, Wi-Fi Tribe, Workationing, Work From. Lots of support for that lifestyle.
Definitely a community and resource focus there.
Next, funding and monetization for creators looking to get paid.
Exactly. Platforms that help people support their creative work directly. Kickstarter for project crowdfunding.
Classic. Ko-Fi for tips, like a virtual tip jar.
Right. Patreon for ongoing membership support. And Podia for selling online courses, downloads, that kind of thing.
Important tools for creators. Now, regional platforms. We touched on some already, but what else is there?
Yeah, this highlights platforms with a specific geographic focus. African Freelancer, Career and Stop, U.S.-based, Climate Base, and Eco Jobs for environmental roles.
Oh, interesting thematic focus there, too. Globalization Partners, Green Jobs, Idealist for nonprofits, LimeLink for Australian and Z.
Nextdoor for very local community stuff. Oyster HR for global hiring compliance. Part-time jobs, Rocket Reach for contact info. Rodeo, SRV, Seek, big in Australia and NZ.
Shiba Hub, Sway, Tandem, Terra.do, another climate-focused one. Wise Bees, Work on Climate, Workana for Latin America, as we mentioned.
And then a bunch more showing that global spread. Rosie.pk for Pakistan, OnlineJobs.ph for the Philippines, Freelance Hunt, and Jijini, likely Eastern Europe, Ukraine, and Della focusing on African tech talent.
Date.com and Nowkriggle for the Middle East. 99 Freelist for Brazil. Whitmart680.com, EPWK, Renwui, Freelancer China, TaskCN, Zwork, Dakun, Twidia, Task China, 58.com. I work clearly a lot focused on China.
Apply Me Internship, MTurk, listed again, maybe regional access, Viduntu, and Gcash Payoneer linking payment systems. It really shows localization.
Absolutely global, but also very local. Okay, nearly there. Staffing and enterprise platforms for bigger companies.
Yeah, these are typically solutions for larger organizations, maybe needing higher volume, compliance, or specialized recruitment. Aquint, Bidzabo, and Hopin for event tech staffing, perhaps. Patra, Robert Half, and traditional staffing giant. Run the World, and just a general staffing agency's entry.
Got it. More for corporate needs. And finally, the catch-all, other platforms. What ended up here?
Yeah, the miscellaneous drawer. It's quite a mix. Boon, Cloud Peeps, Collaborate, Crowdsource, Field Nation, often for on-site tech work. Freelance Folder, Freelance Heroes, Freelance Switch, listed twice. Freelance Weekly, maybe resources or communities.
Freelance work, freelance writing, the general term again. Genuine jobs, Get Courageous, Go Here. Joomlancer, specific to Joomla CMS. Jora, Just Answer, where experts answer questions for a fee.
LaborX, LinkedIn Profander, Maven, Meet Your Heroes, Moonlight, Mural, the collaboration tool, Notion Jobs, jobs related to Notion, Outsource.com, Power to Fly, focusing on diversity, Recruitee, more ATS maybe, Scalable Path, Speedlancer.
Storyblocks for stock media. Superpeer for one-on-one consultations. Task Pigeon, Wander Jobs, Wanalo for on-demand staffing, Writer's Work, Zapier Jobs, Zerpla, G2 software reviews, and Remotask.
It really is an eclectic collection showing just how many different models and niches exist.
Wow, okay. That was a lot of platforms. It's genuinely remarkable seeing them all laid out, far beyond just the few big names.
It's a whole intricate ecosystem, isn't it? Catering to incredibly specific skills and needs.
So, after going through that massive list, what's the main takeaway? What should listeners remember from all this?
I think the biggest thing is just how vast and specialized the freelance landscape really is now. It's not monolithic. There are tons of platforms, and they're often designed for very specific types of talent or specific kinds of work.
Exactly. Like we saw the big general ones, Upwork, Fiverr, but then Remote.co, we work remotely just for remote, ProBlogger for writers, Dribbble for designers.
GitHub Jobs for tech, Belay for VAs, Collabtree for scientists, right down to Amazon Mechanical Turk for tiny tasks, Nomad List for travelers, Patreon for creators.
Malt in Europe for regional, a Quint for staffing. Yeah, the list goes on.
So it really pushes you, I think, to be specific about your own situation.
Hmm.
Are you looking for work? What kind? Are you hiring? What skills do you need? Then you can kind of narrow down which categories and which platforms within those categories make the most sense.
That sheer volume we just discussed, it's pretty astounding, right? It really
Mhm.
suggests that whatever your skills, whatever you need to hire for, there's probably more than one platform out there that could actually be a good fit.
Definitely seems that way. Which leads to a kind of interesting final thought, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With so many platforms and this constant evolution and specialization, how is this going to keep changing the future of work? How we find jobs, how companies find talent? It feels like it's still very much in flux.
That's a great point. Maybe the takeaway for you, the listener, is to actually go explore a few of these that sounded relevant. See what they're like, see where you might fit into this dynamic world.
Worth investigating for sure.